I wanted to share a new model I've been thinking about for sort of indie creators. What used to be like the thought leader, indie consultant, content creator, whatever model. I think it's got a big upgrade recently with community. So the old model was basically price tiers. So you had a $0 product, a $10 product, a $100 product, and a $1,000 product, and then this was like your lead magnet, and in front of that you had some sort of so the price they pay for the free one is you get their emails. Then after that it could be like this is a book, this is like a course, this is like consulting or a seminar or whatever. Super common model, worked super well. But I think now there's a better version of this. And the more I understand outcome oriented communities, the stronger I feel about this. So the idea here is that you're still going to have some sort of top of funnel, which could be your normal newsletter, your content marketing. In my case, it's books. As weird as that is, it's like the world's least efficient top of funnel, but whatever. It's like what I like, and then that puts people into a holding pattern slash progression of what I'm calling an outcome oriented community. An outcome oriented community is when people join not just to hang out with each other, but because they're trying to achieve something or reach a destination. In the case of mine, it's authors who want independent nonfiction authors who want to write a more successful book. So they're joining because they hope to finish the book and they hope that it will be more successful than they would have done on their own. And then within this, instead of having the stair step pattern that you had in the old model where you work through price tiers, in this case, you're basically building the structure. Like designing an outcome oriented community is like systems design. So there's like onboarding, heartbeat, ramps, rituals, shared beliefs, all this stuff. The details of that don't really matter. But along that journey, they're going to run into specific problem points. So let's call like this a problem point and that a problem point and this a problem point. And each of these is an opportunity for a thoughtful and considerate upsell. In this case, it could be a cohort based course. In this case, it could be a micro SaaS. In this case, it could be a connection to a human, either a consultant, a productized service, whether you're doing that with a partner and you're recommending people or you're offering these premium services yourself. And all of these are optional. Like all of these upsells are optional. Some people will be able to progress through their journey without them, and other people will really value them. And I think one of the mistakes that creators have been making so far is they've been using cohort-based courses in place as the wrong foundation. So cohort-based courses work really well when everyone is starting from the same place and progressing at the same speed. So they work well for kind of narrowly defined or easily controllable tasks. They don't work well when people start from different places and progress at different speeds. So like a cohort-based course is really terrible for like how to start a business in most cases. 30 by 500 is the one exception because they're really thoughtful about how they control the starting point and the pacing. But most of them, like they suffer what I call cohort drift, where people like they start, the first lesson's amazing, and then everyone's going in different directions at different speeds, and it's like, and then so like for me, like I couldn't run a cohort based course about how to write a book because some people get through it in 6 months and some people take 6 years, right? You gotta embrace your pace. And so the outcome oriented community, in our case, that's $20 a month. It's going to increase over time, but that's the baseline. And then along that journey, we might have premium things. We might have like $100 cohort based course or even more expensive. We already have an optional $20 a month SaaS for beta reading. We already recommend like trusted editors who are partners. We don't currently take a commission, but you can imagine there's a lot of business models here. And then when people reach their goal, the reason they started this journey, they've written their book, they've got their business to 1,000 MRR, they've run their first marathon, they've stuck to their diet, they've built an exercise habit, whatever it is, whatever transition you're helping them through, they become super evangelical. And in the old model, something I didn't like about it, the 0, 10, 100, 1,000 model, it is that it ended up feeling very self-serving to the creator because it was all about isolating the group at each step who would be willing to make the upsell. And I'm not going to name names, but there's a lot of like charlatans and seminars and a lot of businesses built on this model where like each stage is about like isolating the most vulnerable and influenceable and then like pushing them into like increasingly bad financial decisions. So what I love about the lower model is that it's all oriented around the member's journey. And if they succeed, even without paying you or paying you like the bare minimum, just community membership, they're still super evangelical. So that fuels your recommendation loop. It gives you, your case studies and all of that stuff. It feels very honest to me. And then it also still has the pricing segmentation where if people are interested in spending a lot more money in order to have certain problems solved more quickly or more hands-on, you have these upsells built into the journey. And then people progress it at their own pace through the main thing. Now, some cool stuff happens. So in an outcome-oriented community, you're often going to have content creation as a side effect of running the community and also in creating the courses. So in your Heartbeat, you'll have like your pre-made onboarding comms, which is, a normal thing. But then you're also going to have your Heartbeat, and two common Heartbeat structures are live events of either interview Q&A with like some sort of guest or some sort of peer-to-peer like mastermind, accountability group, whatever. We do both in our group. We have author Q&As and we have weekly writing accountability groups. Now, out of these, you can run them through a process. Like I'm in the early stages of making one. Me and Brian made it to kind of scratch my own itch called Exploded Media, explodedmedia.com. If you want to show up there, you can be customer number 2 because I am customer number 1. And it basically then runs this process as a productized service where it takes in these long form videos and it spits back out a bunch of small, like 1 to 5 minute clips that are really well suited for the feeds, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube Shorts, all that stuff, which then creates this virtuous cycle where your community activity is driving your top of funnel marketing. And so marketing stops becoming this extra activity and it starts becoming integrated into this virtuous cycle. And over time, what we're trying to do is we're about to relaunch the community. We're moving it from Slack to Circle. Circle I've been super happy with so far. Mighty looks good. Also, I think there's a bunch of good tools right now. And over time, like basically every time we have guest speakers, if they're really good or they nailed one, like we had one recently about the podcast book tour. And so we took that video, we broke it up, we sliced in other content, and that Heartbeat event becomes a new cohort-based course. In our case, those are all included with the membership, but there will eventually be some super premium ones that are really high touch and that we want to charge for separately. So this structure basically is what I wanted to explain. This came out of a question that was asked on robfitz.com. There's a little open Q&A. And Corey basically described his like new business idea. He's leaving a big company that he helped grow and he wants to go indie. And he described a model that's like quite similar to this. And at the end here, you can also do a handoff into like super premium consulting if you want to, right? At anywhere along the journey. But what's cool is like you're anchoring it on moments rather than on, anyway, you guys get it. I don't want to ramble, but I'm excited about this model. I think a lot of companies should be doing it. I think this is like the new model of the indie creator, the indie thought leader. And I think you can actually build like a surprisingly big business by doing this. And because of these virtuous cycles around the Heartbeat events, you can do it without an impossible amount of upfront work. You can kind of build toward it incrementally and keep slotting in new offerings to solve the pain points along the customer journey. It's also a custom superpower. There's so much stuff. Anyway, the piece that I'm super interested in right now, just like a little personal update, is the outcome-oriented community slice, because I feel like all the other pieces of this are pretty well solved and well understood, whereas the outcome-oriented community isn't, especially the system design of it. That's what I'm writing about now. If you are interested in that, if it's relevant to you, ping me. I'm pretty easy to find. Send me a message however you want to. And I've got about 10,000 words and a few ideas that have been helpful for me. I'm still learning, but if you want to help me out as like a beta reader, a contributor on building those ideas and getting them out into the world, track me down, let me know. It would be awesome to have your ideas on it. And for Corey, I love what you're doing. I love the model. I think you're doing great stuff. It's super close to this model that I've been thinking about. And I think it's a powerhouse. It can be started by an individual and then built into something really substantial over time if you want to. So cool. That's all I got for now. Sorry this video was a bit of a mess, but I wanted to get the thoughts out in the world. Better out than in, right? All right. Catch you later.